like sending out tweets attributing news organizations tweeting out stuff attributing quotes to people who never said them. This is a good opportunity to take advantage of people's skepticism of the media and of their progressive narratives that they try to launch. And that every time something like those things comes up, we should be there to show people, oh, see, they got it wrong again. Oh, see, they got it wrong again. And build some healthy skepticism in people. That's what I think would be a lovely thing to see come out of the week's news business that we've seen, all the media failings this week.
And I like that perspective on it because it ties to where we've been a couple of weeks ago about tying the horrors of Obamacare and all of the things that government is doing and helping people to understand the failures that government is doing that you're aware of. That means they're going to fail with everything. You can't trust them with Obamacare. Why would you trust them with amnesty? You cannot trust them. You cannot trust a liberal with anything. And now we expand that and say, see, the liberals that you can't trust are also in media. They are ABC, NBC, and CBS News. They are CNN, TNR. They are everywhere. It's liberalism that you cannot trust because they will lie. And we're proving it to you, and you're seeing it. And we need to, like you said, Felicia, we need to be there, and we need to help people understand what they're saying. We need to explain to them that they're seeing. Yeah, okay, I just cracked everybody up. They're all like, hey. Head in their hands. She said Vox-splaining. Oh my God. Yeah, we need to pull a Vox on everyone. As horrible as they are, the idea of helping people understand the meaning of the news is a good one. It's a solid thing, and we need to help people expand their skepticism of a particular media story into the fact that you can't trust them on any story.
Well, can I throw this question out to everybody?
No.
Why is it that...
Sorry.
It's okay, Leslie. You're allowed to give him a hard time.
Why is it that so many people, especially young people, proudly state they don't trust the media, they don't trust the media, you can't believe what you hear, you can't... And then, come election time, they vote exactly how the media has moved them to vote, with slanted stories.
Because it was cool on Comedy Central, man. Did you not watch?
I think you're expecting a level of self-awareness and introspection that maybe a lot of those younger folks don't have. I don't know.
It's also the fact that we're being bombarded by this stuff. I mean, you can only throw... You can say that you don't trust the media, but when it's a tidal wave that's deluging you, there's only so much of that you can ignore.
Well, and look at how we pay for ads on Facebook. You pay for ads, not just Facebook, but Google ads or anything. You pay by impression. What does impression mean? It means it's been in front of someone's face on a screen. Well, I think that's part of the news cycle, too. If the left and the progressive media narratives get out there and are in front of those people, in front of them on their computers, on their tablets, on their phones, a number of times, that maybe it begins to have that same effect. Maybe it begins to subconsciously affect them with that impression. Whether they believe, quote unquote, what the news media is saying or not, they're seeing things and it's impressing on them, and that's where they're taking their information from. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because they're seeing it from news and all of their social media, and they're seeing the same messages, and the stories are confirmed by every musician, actor, comedian, everyone they see. So, they get 5 million impressions from ABC and 10 million from CBS and 15 million from Beyonce and 400,000 from Hot Air. Of course, they're going to be skeptical of us because we're the only ones who disagree. Everybody agrees with that liberal message.
To piggyback on Leslie's point real quick, I mean, we did have those 4 Rams players do the hands up, don't shoot thing. That reached how many millions of people?
Right.
You have LeBron James and a bunch of other basketball players with the "I Can't Breathe" shirts. And honestly, I mean, I have an opinion on the Eric Garner case that is different than my opinion on the Michael Brown case. But there are ways that these narratives transcend the news media and get into people's news feeds. I mean, just through YouTube, I can tell you that I'm subscribed to a lot of people, and the Michael Brown case in particular has permeated those spaces, and a lot of the stuff that has come out as not being true, particularly the hands up don't shoot, has entered into those realms as well. So there are ways that these stories get out there and affect people, particularly young people, that are not in the news media, but in addition to the news media, which is going to be around everywhere because we're surrounded by news. We can't escape it. It's going to get you in some way, shape, or form. And since the majority of news outlets out there are from the left, I mean, that's just the case. So in answer to your question, Andy, I think that's it. It's just that you can say that you want to be unbiased. You can say that you don't want to just go along with the news or whatever. But the news is coming to get you. It's coming to get you. It's seeking you out, and it wants you to go with what it's saying. So, I mean, unless you are a conservative, unless you're, and even then, there are conservative stories that are sent out there that hope to engulf people without them paying the most amount of attention to. That happens. So there's a lot of work that you have to put into being an unbiased consumer of news media. It's difficult, and not everybody understands what the concept is.
I also think that there's a difference between what young people consider the news, which is what they watch their parents watching on TV every night, versus what they get their news sources from today. Just like you're saying, JD, especially with things like YouTube, Comedy Central, they wouldn't maybe consider those things to be the news the same way that their parents would consider the news. So I think that's part of it too.
Absolutely. I mean, when you go to YouTube and you see a comedy video that just happens to touch on the Mike Brown case or something like that, that's not news. That's the honest opinion of somebody who's smart and on the internet and has a lot of followers, and they're not trying to influence you in any way, shape, or form. They're just telling the truth as they see it. So.
Right.
Exactly.
They're popular, so if they have 1 million people following them on Twitter, then they must be telling the truth. They must know what's going on, right?
Facts mean nothing these days. Popularity means more than facts. What demographic was harmed means more than facts. Really, everything means more than facts. Facts mean absolutely nothing, and that's why you've got all these young people right now. I'm sorry to beat up on young people tonight, because that's generally the group I just love. But it's so frustrating watching, especially amongst young people, who are marching out of schools and everything for Michael Brown. It's so frustrating watching them. That's funny. It's so frustrating watching them defending a story where there are no facts in their favor. Nothing. Absolutely nothing, but they don't care. And then a lot of them even boldly admit, that's okay, because I'm still doing a lot of good just by raising the awareness of this, just like the rape stories. What about what actually happened between two actual human beings who really actually exist?
And see, this is why it puzzles me too. Whether it's Michael Brown, whether it's UVA, whether it's Lena Dunham, is there a diminishing of respect for the truth generationally? Or, I mean, are we just, as a nation, becoming less committed to the truth? I don't know. But it seems that the way that one would fight that is talk about a time when someone was misunderstood in their personal life, or something that they said that someone else contradicted and someone else was lying about them. I think making it personal to somebody, it has the ability, I guess, to redirect people back onto a commitment to the truth. But as a society, I don't know how we get back to that, where we have an idea that there is an objective truth. I don't know.
When I would talk to young people, I'd tell them straight out, do not let your agenda close your ears. And I'll tell you that, I'll say that to myself as well. Okay? I have an agenda. I have a strong, and look, I'm a right-wing evangelical born-again Christian. All right? And, I have my agenda, but I will not let it close my ears. The second I do that, that is a demonstration, a declaration that I lack confidence in my agenda because I don't think it'll stand up. And so I look at them and I say, look, why do you have so little confidence in your agenda? Why do you have so little confidence in your point of view that you must use it, wrap it around your ears to shut them, to protect it against scrutiny? Have confidence in yourself or change your views.
Absolutely, and that is advice that everyone should have. That cuts through so many different groups on both sides, and we definitely need to do that. That's a huge point to make. On the topic though of going back to the whole idea of media, not succumbing to partisan media and whatnot, and the youth saying that they're so independent and not paying attention to major news outlets or whatever, trying to be independent. Fishy, during this Ferguson thing, she's set up a really fascinating Twitter list of people, and if you were somebody just hoping to get the news, and this was your Twitter feed that you were reading, and these are all people. These aren't reporters. These aren't journalists. These aren't, these are people who are saying that they are on the ground. These are people who are saying that they, and even some of them are politicians. I mean, it's kind of crazy going through the list and the stuff that they're saying as far as don't trust the media, this is the actual truth. And that, I mean, Fishy, you've read that. It's pretty ridiculous.
It is. There's sort of a disconnect, I think, that's beginning to happen, and uncoupling somewhat from loyalty to traditional media. But I think it's in reaction to media advancing some narrative themselves that does not serve the narrative of the people involved. And so what we find, and this is not just the left at all that does this, you find people on the right willing to throw out a source, and we've talked about that here, willing to throw out a source as useless for because of something they might have said or done in the past, or they've said something that disagreed with a person's worldview or something like that. That is that dangerous habit of closing, as Andy was talking about, closing people's minds off to new information because it doesn't agree. This is it's an epidemic on campuses everywhere. It's apparently making its way through social media, rejecting anything that doesn't agree with your premise as untrue because it doesn't agree with you. And if truth is now becoming devolved to where it means things that I agree with, we're in a lot of trouble.
Well, what are some of the things that the competing narratives are disagreeing with the mainstream media about with regard to Ferguson or the Garner case?
Well, a lot of it was how the media had come in sort of embedded themselves in different situations and would show certain things but not show others. There was a lot of focus on coverage of riots and looting, and media attempting to get close and see that. And you saw plenty of them, standing in between the line of police and the line of protesters, broadcasting from that perspective. And